had seen the suitcase. We finished up our inspection and then went back to the suitcase.
And why did you go back to the suitcase?
Pure curiosity.
Okay. And again, is Mr. Goins with you at this point in time as well?
Yes, sir.
So what happens when you get back to the suitcase?
We got back to the suitcase, and where it was lying at kind of an odd angle, but the handle was towards the underside of the bridge. So I reached out for the handle and immediately noticed it was very, very heavy. And I looked back and remember telling Matt, I said, I don't know what's in this. I said, but it's heavy. I said, and where it was at, it had a possibility of being waterlogged. We didn't know if there was clothing or something in it. We just noticed that whatever it was probably waterlogged and saturated, just due to how heavy it was.
And I imagine you get a lot of rain in Florida?
Yes, sir.
Do you get a lot of rain in the months of February and March?
We can. March normally is fairly rainy season, but again, where the suitcase was really right at the edge of the marsh, and depending on tide, you don't necessarily have to have a lot of rain for that area to be influenced by tide.
Okay. So you, Mr. Goins, get up to the suitcase. You said it appeared to be heavy. What happened after that?
Because of where it was at, it was very, very marshy and muddy. We, of course, didn't know what was in it, but underneath the bridge where it was at was very flat and sandy. And we kind of like made a decision, let's pull it out of the mud and pull it underneath the bridge where it was flat and sandy, and whatever it was in it, we'll just open it there rather than in the muddy marsh, just sticks and a lot of sticks and stuff there. So we pulled it underneath the bridge.
And what did you open it?
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that.
I was the first one to unzip it. And before we opened it, as soon as we unzipped it, we immediately noticed the smell. That's what hit us first. I remember looking up at Matt, who's quite a bit taller than me. And I said, Matt, I think there's something dead in here. And unfortunately, we do come across, sometimes somebody will throw out a litter of puppies or something in a bag, and that's not uncommon. And it smelled, but it was so strong. It was different that day. So I didn't initially open it, and we kind of thought about what we were going to do first. When we finally went ahead and unzipped the rest of it, the smell was so overpowering. We kind of took a step back. And the first thing I remember seeing was just two little feet, and that had little football socks on them. The best I remember, I remember there being little socks on them. And before anything else happened, we couldn't really make out what it was. Matt dumped the suitcase over, and of course we initially immediately knew it was a body. But after looking at it, it was we couldn't tell male or female, boy or girl. We didn't know. A lot of black hair. And then I turned away.
What was the size of this suitcase? Do you remember?
Roughly the size of a checked bag. It wouldn't have been it was too big to be a carry-on, but roughly the size of an older checked bag suitcase.
And was there anything else in the suitcase besides the body?
Lots of blankets. There may have been a pillow or something. I just remember a lot of bedding in there and blankets. It was kind of the body was in a fetal position and partially wrapped up, so we couldn't tell a whole lot until we dumped it out. And again, I turned my head.
What did you do after that?
Walked away. I immediately said, we went ahead and called the inspection right there. I didn't have my cell phone with me. Matt did at the time. He's a volunteer firefighter, and he's dealt with some of this stuff, and I was very thankful to have him there. We immediately dialed 911 and got them on their way. And then I walked up back to the top of the bridge and talked to our truck operator and told him kind of what was